Hello, my name is Eric Bubble, and I sometimes go by the name Simon, and this is the first video. This is the last first video for 2017, and it's a game that came out last year, so I'm very much up to date. It is far too hot to be doing this video, but regardless, I will soldier on. So, this is Tyrants of the Underdark. This is by WizKids, this is by Dungeons & Dragons, Wizards of the Coast. They all work together to make this board game, and it's Tyrants of the Underdark. This is a Drow-inspired area control game that features a lot of drafting, not drafting, I should say, a lot of deck building. Rather, very much card deck building. If you are any more familiar with Wizards of the Coast and the Forgotten Realms and their Dungeons & Dragons role-playing game, you'll know a lot about Drows. They're kind of this society of very strong female characters who live in a very matriarchal society. They worship a spider queen, and they have dark skin, and the warriors tend to be the males, and they tend to be more lower class in their pursuit. And of course, they are elves, so they tend to be a bit more haughty and lofty and a bit more arrogant as normal, and they're quite evil. In Tyrants of the Underdark, you play as one of the 4 Drow factions or Drow houses, and you basically vie for control of various regions. The gameplay is very much like any other deck builder you've played. If you ever played Clank, Ascension, or Dominion, I probably shouldn't forget Dominion, then you're very much familiar with what you're supposed to be doing. You're going to be spending 3 resources. Essentially, you're going to be spending your cards on influence, which will allow you to buy new cards. You have your cards on power, which will allow you to either put troops down on the board or assassinate other people. Or you can use your cards for other abilities, which might be to get special bonuses and so on and so forth. Essentially, on your turn, you're just going to be playing out 5 cards from your hand, and then obviously they go into discard pile, you're going to shuffle back in, and then you're going to pick up new cards as you play along. Now, generally, I don't really like deck builders. I find them quite boring in the sense that the play is fun. The mechanic of, getting your cards and making your deck stronger is fun, but the interaction between players has always been somewhat of a lackluster experience for me. I'm thinking back of things like Ascension, where you couldn't really do anything to stop a person from doing their really cool combo. You couldn't really interrupt them, so to speak. Likewise, with Clank, your only real interaction was really just adding more cubes to a bag and hoping that the dragon pulls out cubes that weren't your color. Again, you weren't really affecting someone else. Like in Dominion, for example, your major opposition is going to be to someone might pick up a card that you really want before you get a chance to. And that has always kind of sucked for me. It's always been a case of just does feel like I am playing solitaire. Just there's people around me watching me when I take my turn, and that's never been that fun. And that's why I was really surprised at how much I enjoyed Tyrants of the Underdark, because it is all about interaction. By making a deck building game into an area control game, you have people who are constantly going to be getting in your way. Someone's going to place a spy in an area that you don't want to have them in, and all of a sudden your plans are going out of whack because that's going to remove a victory point from your ever-growing amass of victory points, and it's just going to suck so badly. You constantly have this aura of tension around you as you're hoping not only the person doesn't take the cards you want, but also hoping that it doesn't put troops in an area that might basically screw up your plans. The game will end when basically the deck of cards runs out, or once everyone's expired their whole clan of troops essentially, and then you tally up the victory points and see who wins. But the fun really is how you do your deck building, and that kind of promotes which style of area control you're going to go for. Because what's great is it kind of reminds me back to Blood Rage. If you remember Blood Rage was a game where you could go for being the guy who wins all the battles, or you could be the guy who wants to lose all the battles, or you could be the guy that takes control of the most areas and wins through that way, or you could be the guy that uses his clan upgrades the best and generates points that way. And that was really cool about Blood Rage. It kind of promoted these very much different strategies that all kind of fell in upon themselves to create this grand experience. One player is going to be the bad guy and trying to win all the combat. The other guy is going to be the person that gets beaten on, but he's actually the bigger bad guy, and that was great. And Tyrants of the Underdark does this exact same thing, where one person might be going for very much an area control strategy, where he just wants to get as many dudes and troops out on the board as possible, whereas in the game I played, I did the strategy of basically thinning my deck. I kept promoting people, which basically doubles their victory points in a sense, and puts them out of my deck. So I would pick up a card that maybe gave me 5 victory points if it was in my deck, but if I promoted it, it got out of my deck and it gave me 10 victory points. So that's kind of the route I went for, and that was quite fulfilling because all of a sudden I had a massive sprawl of about 10 cards in my deck at the end, and I had like 20 cards in my promotion. I'm exaggerating, but it was more like 12. But it felt so rewarding, and it was nice that the game allowed me to do that. Likewise, it was nice that we could butt heads a lot. You know, you have these moments when someone's going to put a spy in an area that you control, and all of a sudden you're just like taunting them because you're like, yeah, that spy is not going to last a day. It's not going to even last by the time it gets back to your round, because you know you're going to kill it off. And then you draw a hand of cards, and you're like, oh, god damn it. But that's what's also great. You can just draw your hand of cards before your turn starts and plan out your moves beforehand. And again, that builds on that element of tension where you're like, oh, I hope he doesn't take that one card because I really want it in my deck. Tyrants Underdark doesn't have that many flaws. I want to say the mechanics were very solid. I couldn't really point out anything in terms of the gameplay that really bugged me in any which way, and that was quite nice. That was quite refreshing. It wasn't like, oh, I didn't really like how that played out. Generally, I liked almost every aspect of it. My biggest problem with the game is really just it doesn't look that nice. So, what Wizards of the Coast have done, and WizKids, they have done really good artwork. Unfortunately, because of the theme of the underground elves, essentially, it's, as you can see, very much purple and black and a bit of like light bluish color, and that works in a lot of the card art. It's quite prominent and it works really nicely, but it can be a bit monotonous at times. You kind of wish they added a bit more elements of maybe a disgusting green or maybe a lime yellow to really just contradict things and just make other things pop a bit more, because that does feature in the Underdark, and I wish they kind of had pursued that a bit more. The biggest failing of the game is the graphical design. The UI elements, or the various symbols the game uses, and it features a lot of white in terms of how it does its text, and also all the borders. The borders are never intricate around cards. They're always just a white border, and that feels somewhat disappointing. I'm harkening back to things like Ascension, which the card artwork is awful, but the UI is really, really well done and really engaging. Tyrants Underdark just features a very stark, white, and bland UI that doesn't really do anything for it. If anything, it makes the game weaker. There's this idea that if you took like one of those black lights, or for some people the purple light, and just shine it over the game as you play, you would have this wonderful purple glow throughout the whole thing, and that might be a really cool experience. But it just kind of sucks that they didn't put enough effort into making that quite wonderful. Likewise, the components themselves are all good. The cardboard tokens feel quite nice, and the miniatures are really well done. I just kind of wish that instead of having little like crests of shields for your troops, I kind of wish they actually had troops, because the spies look really cool and they're cloak and dagger and they're kind of doing the spy action. I just kind of wish they did the same thing where they had maybe a guy with a spear instead, just to be like, this is a troop, and then they could differentiate the troops between the different houses. I kind of wish they just went a bit more, because this game is quite expensive for what it offers. The box is rather big for what you get given. Also, there is an expansion out, and one of the downsides to the expansion is, I think for the first print run, the backs of the cards are off-colored, which means if it's blue for Tyrants of Underdark, it's just a lighter shade of blue in the expansion, and that really does suck, because you basically then have to use, colored sleeves, essentially. And that's, again, it just kind of shows that the company didn't really put enough effort into marketing this game, or basically cared enough for this game, because this is a really good game. It's got solid deck building mechanics and solid area control mechanics, and they merge together really, really well. My final criticism for the game is it just costs too much. It really does. This game, I think for here it's about 1,500 Rand, which is about $100. I think for now you can probably get it down to 70 if you go to the right shop. And really, this should have been a game that costs half that price, because when you open up the box, what is cool though, you get a lot of cards. But again, it's just one board. It's not even a double-sided board. There's not different areas to go to. And again, the miniatures aren't that amazing by any stance, and so it's kind of disappointing that it costs so much for what it gives you. What is really nice though is probably the best part about the game is when you start the game, you choose 2 decks, and these will get merged together to create basically the deck that you're going to be spending your influence to draw cards from. That is great. So you have Drow Elves, who are essentially all about promoting their units and trying to get them out into your inner circle and score victory points that way. You have the Demons, who are all about hampering your opponent's basically draws. So you give insane outcasts, which are basically dead cards. They essentially are worth -1 point, and they basically do nothing on your turn. And even to get rid of them, you have to almost forfeit one of your other actions on your cards, and that's great. And then you also have Dragons, who are just really cost-effective, big bruisers, and can put a lot of troops out on the board. And then you also have the Elemental deck, which is all this crazy, wild fun. I love that they did that. I love that they took that idea of replayability in that fashion, and it reminds me a lot of Dominion. Dominion also has the same thing. You kind of pick and choose which kind of decks of cards you want to put in, and I'm happy they did that, and I'm happy they're continuing that for the expansions that come out. You know, I'm remembering back to when I played Clank, and it was just like, well, it's going to be one deck, and that's all you get given, and you have to get an expansion to kind of make it a bit better. So I'm really, really glad they kind of went that route. Overall, my final thoughts is Tyrants of the Dark is a wonderful deck building experience. It's great area control. I think I will probably pick it up if it goes on sale at some point in the next year. And that's about it. I'm kind of happy that this was my last game that I played for 2017. It kind of like opened my eyes to deck building experiences, and that's always a great thing, which means as I look forward to the new year, I probably will be keeping my eyes out for those kind of games a bit more in my head. As for the rest of the year, I am going to be doing something special on the 1st of January, so look out for that. And if you want to, make sure you subscribe to the channel, because then you'll be definitely notified when that video goes up. And of course, leave a like if you did enjoy my video, if you enjoyed me talking about Tyrants of the Underdark. Maybe you don't like deck builders, maybe you do love deck builders. We have one guy in our group who just loves deck builders. We give him names, we kind of tease him a bit on it. It's just an ongoing joke, but it's quite fun. But let me know if you do like deck builders. You know, maybe you are a big role player, and this is a game that got you into playing board games more because you kind of picked up Tyrants of the Underdark and you're like, oh, is this a role-playing game? And no, it was actually a board game. And maybe that surprised you, but let me know what you think. I look forward to hearing from you guys. Anyway, that's going to be it for me. Look forward to seeing you in a new year, and of course, have a wonderful time. Bye-bye.